Let us factorize some more quadratic expressions. So here we have another one, and again, remind you, it's 3 terms. So we want to rewrite the middle term so that we can have 4 terms, so we can factorize by grouping. So we need to rewrite the 2. But before we can rewrite the 2, remember whichever 2 numbers we use to rewrite the 2. These 2 numbers must have the same product as AC. What is A? 3 times minus 8, that's negative 24. Because A is 3, the term in front of the square, the term that's square. Alright, so that is x square or y square or W square or whatever square. So A is 3, and B is 2, and C is negative 8. So A times C is minus 24, 3 times minus 8. So let us write down all the set of numbers that multiply to give minus 8. Minus 24, sorry. Let's think about positive 24 first. So what numbers multiply to give 24? 24 and 1, obviously. 2 times 12, certainly. What else multiply to give 24? 6 times 4, and I believe 3 times 8. All these numbers multiply to give 24. Good. But you want the numbers now to add or subtract slash to give 2m. Which of these numbers you can add or subtract to get positive 2? And when you multiply them, you get negative 24. You're correct. If we say 6 take away 4, 6 take away 4, that's 2m. And then if you multiply 6 times negative 4, you will get negative 24. So, we're going to rewrite the 2m, so we have 3m squared. And then we have, it doesn't matter if you put the positive 6 first or negative 4 after, it doesn't matter. Let me put the positive 6. Alright, 6m. As long as the positive is on the 6 and the negative is on the 4. That is all that matters. So 6m take away 4m minus 8. And again, notice all we have done is rewrite the 2m, the term in the middle. Because look, we have 3m squared. We still have our minus 8. And all we've done is rewrite 2m. 6m minus 4m. Remember, when you're factorizing an expression, you're not changing the value of the expression. The value remains the same. It's just you're rewriting using different numbers. So it's still 2m. 6m take away 4m. But you write it as 4 terms. The expression has 4 terms. Alright, and now we need to group them and factorize each group separately. Right? So for the first group, what's our common factor? 3 is common. So 3 and 6, 3 is common factor. And then we have m squared and m. So m is also common. So now we need the terms of the bracket. And we can get those by dividing each of these terms by whatever we have outside, the highest common factor, 3m. So 3 into 3, that's 1. M into m squared, that's m. So 1m. Here, m into m, that's 1. And 3 into 6, that's 2. Here, the second group here. What's our common factor? Well, if you notice, the expression begins with a negative term. So it factor out a negative number. For 4 and 8, so negative 4. And now we need our terms for the bracket. We need our terms for the bracket. And how do we get these terms? Divide each of them by whatever we have outside. Highest common factor minus 4. So, what's minus 4 into minus 4? So positive 1m, so m. And what's minus 8 divided by minus 4? And negative divided by negative. Positive, so positive 2. And as we'd expect, we have our common bracket. Common factor here is m plus 2, so we factor out m plus 2. And if we factor out m plus 2 from both terms, what are we left with? We're left with the terms outside the bracket, which is 3m and minus 4. And that one is done. So here is another one, 2y squared minus 1y. Remember, minus 1y, just as how x is minus 1x, minus y is minus 1y. So we have 2y squared minus 1y minus 6. So we need to rewrite which number? The middle number, -1. But before we do so, we need to know what AC is. And AC, coefficient of the y square, the term in square there, 2 times C, or the C value, -6. So AC, that's 2 times -6, that's -12. Let us write out all the set of numbers now that multiply to give 12. Let's use a positive, 12. So 12 times 1 obviously multiply to give 12. 6 times 2 give us 12. 4 times 3 give us 12. Right? So whatever number we use, whatever set of numbers we use to rewrite -1y, of course, when you add or subtract these numbers, obviously you need to get -1. And when you multiply these set of numbers, you need to get, of course, -12. Alright? So which is a matter of which of these do we put the negative sign on? If we put it on the -3, it's +1. But it's negative I want, right? So we put it on the -4. So -4 plus 3, that's -1. So we rewrite the middle term. So we have 2y squared, and then we have -4y plus 3y. And what's -4y plus 3y? -1y. And then we have -6. So notice again, all we have done is rewrite the -y into -4y plus 3y. Or you could have put 3y minus 4y. It doesn't matter, as long as the positive is on the 3 and the negative is on the 4. That is what is important. The order is not important. You'll get the same result in the end. So now we're going to group and factorize each group separately. So for the first group here, what's our common factor? 2y. So 2y. And we need the terms for the bracket. And we can get that by dividing each of these terms by 2y, right? Whatever we have outside. So 2 into 2, that cancel. Y squared divided by y, that's y. Here, y into y, that's 1. -4 divided by a +2, that's -2. Outside 3y minus 6, what's our highest common factor there? 3, because y is not common. And we need to determine what goes inside the bracket. So we divide each of these terms by whatever we have outside of the bracket, which is 3. So 3 into 3, that's 1, so 1y. And -6 divided by 3, that's -2. Alright, so our common factor, and by the way, we always get a common factor, a common bracket here. Y minus 2, we factor out y minus 2. And what we have now, 2y plus 3. And it doesn't matter which bracket you put first. 2y, when my multiplication is commutative, so the order is not important. You could have put the 2y plus 3 first, and the y minus 2 after. Alright, so that's that. We have another one. Alright, so we need to rewrite that 5p there. So, but of course, the two numbers must multiply to give -6. A times c. So we first need to know what a times c is. A times c is what? 2 times -3. That's -6. So we'll now write down all the set of numbers that multiply to give -6. Or 6, let's say 6. So 6 times 1 obviously give us 6. What else multiply to give 6? 2 times 3. Anything else? Just these set of numbers multiply to give 6. And of course, we need to, the two numbers of course must add to give 5. But, could we use 2 and 3? Yes, 2 and 3 add to give 5. But why we couldn't use 2 and 3? Because 2 times 3 give us +6. When we multiply the two numbers, we get -6. So it couldn't be 2 and 3. It would have to be 6 minus 1. Or -1 plus 6. Remember, the two numbers must multiply to give you AC, which is -6. And when you add or take away, you must get +5. So we're using the 6 and the 1. So we have 2p squared. So it's up to you if you want to put the minus 1 first or the positive 6 first. Let me put the positive 6. So I have 6p minus 1p minus 3. Notice it's still 5p we have in the middle. But why did we use 6 and negative 1? Because 6 times negative 1 gives the same result as 8 times c. And that's what's important. That's why we didn't use 2 and 3. Because even though 2 plus 3 had to give 5, when you multiply 2 by 3, you do not get minus 6. And hence 2 and 3 would not work. Good? So we group and then we factor by group. Alright, for the first group, for the first pair, what's our common factor? 2p. 2p. And we factor out 2p. What do we have in, what do we put divide by now? 2p. Just to get the terms of the bracket. Alright. So 2 into 2, 1, p squared divided by p, that's p. P into p, 1, 2 into 6, that's positive 3. And you can bet your last dollar that the other bracket will have p plus 3. But anyway, negative 1p minus 3, what's the common factor? P is not common. On 1 and 3, the common factor is 1, but because it begins with a negative term, we factor out minus 1. And because we factor out minus 1, to get the terms to put in the bracket here, we divide each of these terms here by minus 1, whatever we have outside the bracket. So minus 1 into minus 1, that's positive 1, right? So positive 1p there. And minus 3 divided by minus 1, positive 3. Remember, negative divided by negative is a plus. Good? And so, what we have here now? P plus 3 as our common factor. And then what we have outside the bracket? 2p minus 1. And we are done.